Why, hello, hello. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, my camera decided it did not want to connect today, so I'm using my inbuilt camera, which is a little dark, but it's going to get the job done. So there it is. It is what it is.
No,
And
I don't care. I'll use you know um, a chisel on the side of the cave wall as long as I get a chance to be with you. And here I am by myself. I'm solo. Come on.
I wanted to see if you would say something because usually you don't like that. And I don't like it either. If somebody solos me, I freak out. Why do we freak out when we're on TV all the time? Why does it
Oh,
bother us to be solo? What is
it
that?
doesn't matter. It's just as long as we know. In other words, Dennis, have something to say.
Okay, Dennis, have something to say. Okay, I'm
Oh,
sorry. All right,
thank you
I'm
for
gonna
the
behave.
advance notice. Right? Yeah. where
I'm
you
gonna
were
be. And I'm wearing houndstooth, and I am circa 1983 because I have these huge shoulder pads that make me look like a linebacker, and I feel like very powerful today. So we're talking about powerful
alpha
women and alpha
al-
females.
alpha female. Yeah. Do you have that slide of the alpha female?
No, I don't. Oh, I should have known to do that, but I do have other fun goodies. But yes, very quickly, I feel like this is the year of the alpha female. And I feel like it's the year for men to step up and realize one thing. Here's what I'm asking you and all men to accept. Don't do it for us. Be selfish, have your own interests at heart, and let me sell this to you. If a woman like me rises in leadership and power and gathering resources and directing flow, I'm very good at directing flow, you and all men win. So do it for yourselves, men. This is why it's good. This isn't about ceding your power to women. It's not. You gain more power because women, when they get power, they share. We're very diplomatic. We're very democratic. Women naturally are like that. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm just making a case for allowing women to rise so that men can rise. Because right now, the
That,
people, nobody is benefiting.
not men, not women. No one.
Exactly.
Because in the patriarchy there is only so much pie. And we have to fight over the
Did you say
pie.
pie?
Pardon?
Did you say pie?
Pie? Yes.
That would be a
Yes.
great lead in after this.
Yes. But there's only so much pie. And so we end up fighting over this particular piece.
Hmm.
And we know because we see in a place like the Gaza Strip right now and what's going on in there. There is no way, if we're only going on to who's right and who's wrong,
Hmm.
which is the patriarchal image, is only one person has to be at the top and everyone else has to be underneath. We're never going to solve it
Right.
because
Yeah.
there's no way to be able to do it. That's one of the reasons my whole, I ask, when people go, well, how are we going to deal with the Gaza Strip? How are we going to deal with Gaza? How are we going to deal with Ukraine? And I ask, well, how many women are at the peace table and given power to negotiate?
Hmm.
All I see is men. All I see is men out there, and that's really where the situation is. We must have that. We must have that blend. Because it is. I so agree with you that women are synergistic. One
Hmm.
plus one is greater than two. That's what we have. When you teach a man, you educate a human being. When you teach a woman, she goes back and educates the community.
Right. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
that's what we get a chance. And so the assuming that we want to go on to that next level. And the way I think of it is I think back to the 1948 Detroit Pistons. This is the basketball team, the NBA basketball team. You look at them, they all have my complexion.
Hmm.
Now imagine the general manager of that team able to bring them into 2024 and say, okay,
Hmm.
I want you to play against the Los Angeles Lakers. What do you think would happen?
Well, now we
Okay,
have a meritocracy. Now we have more of a meritocracy.
but that's my point. But
Mhm,
people, and that's one of the things that I love about professional sports is because it is a meritocracy for a lot of the part, and you really get a chance to move up in the way that your skills and your hard work are going to be able to do that. And so that's why the way I see women today.
mhm,
Why would you not want to have a first round draft choice of these brilliant women that are there to be able to bring? Why would you exclude them?
mhm.
It's not in our best interest in order to do that, and we must change.
I think that that's true. And I really agree with you. And I really appreciate your allyship. I think that as an ally myself for different causes, I know that allies fill in the gaps that the actual people who are being oppressed themselves cannot do. That's what I've been told as an ally. And that's what I believe about men who are stepping up to the plate. And I always like to appeal to the basest part, brum, 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 the basest part of human nature, because I can't rely on people to do things that are against their own interests. I can't. And I don't want to argue for that. But I
Why would you
know
want
that
to? Why would you do things against your own interests
exactly.
when there is every reason to do it in your own interest?
Exactly. And that's my case. I'm just trying to prove to men because let me just say this. I'm gonna say this, okay? And I'm gonna hurt some feelings in the world right now, but I have to say this, which is that men nowadays in the Western world, they talk a good game. All of you do now. It's very rare that you meet a guy who's going to say the quiet parts out loud. They tend to stick to the script and they say that they want equality and all of that stuff. But it comes down to actual behaviors. Because myself, I have a lot of beliefs that I aspire to, but I don't actually behave that way. So I want to challenge men that to actually listen when
Hmm.
a woman is speaking. Imagine that you could respect her and that she was just as intelligent as if a man were speaking and just as impactful as if a man was speaking. Just challenge yourself to actually believe that in your heart because it doesn't always get transmitted the way, a lot of guys are going to say this and then in practice they don't actually do it. But women have a lot to offer. We have unique perspectives and like you were saying earlier, it comes back and we infuse the entire planet. We are not against men. I talk to women alone every single day. I promise you I hear the deepest fears in women's hearts. I've never once in my life heard a woman say, "Yeah, I hate all men and I want to use my power to oppress them." It doesn't happen. We're on your side. We love you. We do all kinds of things for the men in our lives and for men globally. Just give us, I'm just asking for a chance. Just give us a chance.
Right. Well,
Give
but we're
ladies
also
a
dealing.
chance. You're not going to give us a
How
chance?
about how do we deal with the unconscious biases that we say? Because again, what you're saying is that a man would say,
Mhm.
including me, would say, "Oh, absolutely." Do you feel like I cut you off right then?
No.
Okay. I just want to make sure that I did that because I did.
No,
I
no, no,
kind of
don't
jumped in
we're
there.
not going to walk on eggshells. That's another
But
thing. You
and
have
no,
to
not
be
not at
free.
all. But I just want to make sure that we are walking and talking the way we believe. But when we're dealing with unconscious biases,
Mhm.
you know, just had my birthday, 76 years old,
Which we have some videos.
and the neat part about that is that I can look back and I can see the evolution that I have come up on and the difference between my biases and my unconscious biases. And a good example of it for me was back in 1973, because I was
Mhm.
already coming out as a feminist. I was already coming out as for women power. Yet I remember when I first heard Helen Reddy's song "I Am Woman,"
Mhm.
and I had an emotional reaction to it.
So what was the
Intellectually,
reaction?
I was totally there, but I had an emotional reaction to, "Ooh, that doesn't feel right." It doesn't. I mean, she just feels like there's something not. And this was my own breeding, my own the socialization that I was socialized with the tiered, that men are the head of the family and the women.
Mhm.
That there's a difference between what I can intellectually get and then what is going on underneath in my subconscious and my in that emotional level. And that's so I'm interested in.
Well, what was the feeling? Now, I cut you off there. I really did, but I just want to know, what was that feeling? Let's dissect that. So you hear her saying, "I am woman," blah blah blah. Like, so what was the primal response? Because I believe in validating our primal responses and working through those. I don't believe in shaming those inclinations. What was your primal response when you heard that song back in the 70s?
That there was that it was like a backlash to it. It was like a way, oh, she's a little, why is she so strong? Why is she coming on so something
Mhm.
like that. I can't really. It's interesting that you would ask that, but I because I can't. All I remember was a non-positive response. I
Was it
thought,
fight or flight?
yeah, something
Okay.
like that,
So
but I
you
can't.
felt attacked. You felt attacked, maybe.
I did. I think I felt that, and then
Mhm.
I was able to continue to work for it. But the thing what it did for me was to identify that what was in my head was different from what my learning and growth and the things that the race mind consciousness that I'd grown up with.
Right. And I love us being able to share about this because for me, obviously I'm a woman, I don't have that response about women, but there's all kinds of groups and experiences that I'm going to have those primal, that adrenaline rush, or hey, you don't know me, don't attack me, don't wag your finger in my face, like I get that feeling too. It's kind of like the Billy Joel thing. I'm an innocent man. I'm not going to die here. I'm an innocent man. You're putting, and I think that's some of it too, is like self-defense. And part of that can be very healthy. So I want to make really clear that not this isn't like, oh, it's a terrible thing. And I think men, I love the fact that men have a unique experience. I love diversity, me personally. So when you have that response, I get to learn from it as a woman and I get to say, okay, how do I make a better environment that we can all like? Because there are feminists, and for every group that I belong to, there's going to be a lot of members that I don't agree with. There are feminists who can be very, they have different personalities that I don't get along with. I don't want to be around them. I think they can, everybody in a movement disagrees on the way forward. For me, I want to be collaborative and I
Sure.
love men and I need to hear their voices. And I also need to be open, just like I'm asking you to be open with women. I'm asking myself, can I be open to men and to hear them out, their experience? What is their experience?
Yes, but
Because
all right.
men
Let me ask you a question though, on there. But the place where I'm curious is when you're willing to stand up and
mhm,
own and say, hold on a second, really stand up into your alphaness. Because
mhm,
what you and I have talked about it is that this is not an easy thing. This is an emergence. This is your lobster shell that you're growing, the
yeah,
lobster grows out of, as we know from Laura Siegel's book, and
yep, we're gonna get there.
that you're actually you're going through the shell and you're going through this chrysalis, but it's hard for you at times to stand up and to own your power.
It's almost impossible. It is the hardest thing to do. I absolutely need help. And that's the one thing I want to say about leadership in general and power in general. Barack Obama was so good about talking about this. Michelle Obama is so good about talking about this. People like Trump are not. But I'm going to tell you the truth. The truth is that the Obamas have it right. When somebody, anybody, doesn't matter how strong you are, when you go to claim your power and own your power, everybody comes. It's the football thing. Oh, she's got the football. Boom, let's tackle. Ty talked with you about that on a reasonably spontaneous conversation recently. If people go to Tardon Media on YouTube, they can see that with his conversation with Ty when she said the more she excelled academically and in her career and in her intellect, I know, and this is the one day I didn't bring it. But she said everyone just charged at her. Women were jealous of her. Men felt threatened by her. What is the answer? So here's the thing: if you want to sell me a car right now, you're not going to tell me how dangerous the car is and how unpleasant and what a bad smell it has in it. I'm going to walk off the lot. The problem with women claiming their power is we have not given them rewards for it. What is the fucking reward? Okay, we might give them higher salary, more money. I'm not motivated by pure money. I'm motivated by relationship, by love, by humanity, by spirituality, by community. So you have to speak a woman's language. What's in it for me to claim my power if everyone gets jealous, everyone feels threatened, all of my relationships are severed, and everybody hates me? Great. So now I have a slightly higher salary, but I'm alone and hated. Men act the same way, and they get the money, they get the relationship, they get the all of that. So it's a double. So what is the little thing we're dangling for the women? When I speak to young women like Lily May or Lily Rose, I always feel kind of guilty telling them to claim their power because it's the correct thing, but I know how hard it's going to be. Whereas a man, you can tell him, claim your power, walk your path, and everyone is like, yay. What's in it? So like you and I are doing a
So
lot of work behind the scenes about what's in it for me and my personal journey that I'm not going to share publicly, but you know how hard it is from the inside out. It's absolutely, I would say it's impossible without support. So I do want to tell people, please support the people in your life that are owning their powers, embracing their dreams, because they're going to need it. I don't care if you're John Lennon, you need it. I don't care if you're, Barack Obama, you need it. Everybody needs it. And women really need it because you stand up in your power as a woman and you're a bitch, you're a blah. So we're rebranding, Dennis and I don't know about
yeah,
anyone else, but we're
no, I
rebranding alpha female.
exactly, and that's because the story that you were telling, that if you stand into your alpha, you're going to lose all the things that are wonderful about you, and you're going to lose your relationships, and you're going to be thought of as a bitch, as a complete.
Yeah.
All right, I want to rebrand that story.
Oh,
Let's say that
goody. I
that
get to be
story.
alone and hated.
No. Let's say that that story is loosening. I'm not
Hmm.
saying it's gone, but I'm saying let's just say that that story is loosening
Hmm.
so that women who are standing up in their power are beginning to still be able to retain some of those qualities, still being able
Hmm.
to have some respect, still being able to begin to be cheered
Hmm.
for standing up and claiming their power. This is something, but it is the arc of history. The arc, it bends towards justice. So, but it's long. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
this is this process. It's hard for us to see what it would be like in 2050 with the continuing emergence, the work that's going to have to be done. So how does the woman in 2050, and because the thing is that I don't know that women need to behave as the alpha male does.
No, it's a different alpha.
Throwing, the man who over and over we'll look at some of the entrepreneurs and some of the tech people that we have, and they throw fits, and they
Hmm.
stomp out, and so behaving that way, and then they slash people and cut you know huge portions of their companies, and they're cutthroat, and the work. I don't believe that women have to embrace that as the way of working
Hmm.
in order to be able to succeed at the same levels. Now, I would like to bring this up, and I hope this isn't a rabbit trail, but there's something about what's happening with Elon Musk right now
Hmm.
that really that I'm yes, I'm judging him on this, but I want to take my judgment and throw that out, and just to be able to say this as a concept, because you and I have talked about this a lot. His company is being sued
Yeah.
because they want to give him $52 billion, and so the I forget what agency rolled it back, but said that he could only have 47 billion. And the company, the executive board, said yes, but we need to give him 52 billion instead of 47 billion we need he deserves the respect.
Right. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay.
I literally just said that to a man like
I'm just trying to wrap my
earlier.
mind around the idea of $47 billion, which is
Hmm.
$47,000 million. The 47 billion is 47,000 million dollars. That the difference between that and 52 would get respect. How does that in any how does that in any I mean,
Yeah.
in any rational concept make any sense? Renee, it just does not make sense to me. Yes, I realize maybe I have to say because I'm not there, and perhaps that's one of the reasons why I can't understand it because I've never had a billion, much less 47 billion. But that concept of if I only got $5 billion on top of that, then I
Hmm.
would have the respect, or I'd be able to give that respect.
Right.
That how does I can't wrap my mind around that,
Can I?
and I can't stop thinking about it.
Okay, well, I'm going to help you in just 1 second. Right now, I'm going to help you. We're going to heal this together and we're going to keep our discernment and judgment of Elon, but we're going to work through a separate issue. So, what you
Please.
said is totally valid and I agree. And I think it's crazy. And when would ever enough be? And I don't want to ever be like him. Let's pinky swear we're never going to be like that. Okay. So now, rerouting though to heal that so that we can have something here. Do you, can you imagine some of the people who live abroad in ghettos where they have nothing to eat for days at a
How about
time,
Gaza? Gaza
like
right
Gaza,
now, let's just say there, one of the biggest humanitarian crisis on the planet.
right? For them, when I'm complaining myself right now, like, oh, I can't believe I have to use the inbuilt camera that makes me look all dark like a gremlin and the lighting is bad right now. Imagine somebody in Gaza who hasn't fed their newborn because her breast isn't even creating milk because she hasn't eaten in 2 weeks. And she's hearing me. I'm Elon to her. And she's like, I can't believe this fucking bitch cares about her MacBook that if I had, I would immediately sell and save my child's life. So fuck you, Renee. So that's the only way that I have to do it through empathy. But even though I'm doing that, there's an African proverb that says the rich too cry. So we can still have valid feelings about my stupid camera and all of these first world problems we used to call them, but then we can also discern with Elon. I think that we can do both. And that's sort of getting out of the binary thinking. Can we try to do both where we see how we can come off like Elon, but we can also judge Elon
Yeah.
because he's at a different level?
Because we have to be able, and this again is another thing that I think that women can do is to be able to hold two thoughts at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that happens all the time. And we have to be able to do that. Women are so good at doing that. So that's what we're doing. So we're judging Elon, we're judging ourselves, and we're sort of, it just creates for me, I just feel more of a peaceful nature. It doesn't
I
make me
do
like
too.
Elon, but
Just
it's a more
saying
peaceful
that,
nature.
that's exactly what happened to me. I was feeling this wonderful peace come down as you said that. Thank you so much for that healing. That to me is a wonderful aspect of divine feminine leadership. This
Well,
is what
that's
you you lead me in prayer, you lead me in
mm,
healing, and that's what leadership is about. When we talk about what leadership is about, that's what I'm talking about.
absolutely. And so much of it comes down to modeling, says the model. Yes, but it does. It comes down to modeling, doesn't it? That's what you say to me all the time. You say, "Well, model it for me." So I don't need to lecture you. Bam, 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 do that. Like that's not effective and it's not helpful for me either to do that. But when we talk about these things and we both feel very safe, and again, not judging our feelings, realizing that our needs are really valid, which I'm working through that myself. I feel the healing like so much. And now, very quickly though, and we'll follow up on this maybe next week, but I do want to start while it's still fresh in our mind. I
Hmm.
want to start. and I want you to just give me like 30 seconds to a minute about Lori Siegel. And I want everybody to Google Lori Siegel. Why are you and I both having such weird feelings? Like we like her, we don't like her. Like we understand her, we don't. Talk about that.
Well, it's Laurie Siegel, and it's Seagall, and she was a CNN reporter and the tech reporter, and so I'm following her entire career, and um, Renee and I just finished Kara Swisher's book, and what was the name of it?
Burn book.
No, Burn Book. So we finished Burn Book, and so then we moved on to Lori Siegel, who's another tech correspondent who also interviewed all and her. There is something I'm watching Lori during her evolution, and I'm wondering if some of what I'm projecting on her is what I'm holding against myself,
Okay,
because
like what?
I'm also in the process of having a production company. I'm having a production company with you. You and I have taken Glory Be Good Productions and Tardon Media and joined them in a and doing co-productions for a number of projects that you and I are working on. And I'm looking for the kind of recognition. I'm looking for the kind of ambition that I have. So I'm wondering if and so I think that the people would listen to her, and it's not wonderful that she read her own biography in the same way that her own autobiography, the same way that Kara Swisher also read hers. I love it when they do that. But there is something, and I just don't know what it is. There is something that I feel. I don't feel a the kind of connection that I wish I would want to feel in them.
There's something
Well,
I
well,
wonder
you
how much of it is the timbre of her voice, literally. Like, is some of it just her manner of speaking and the timbre of her voice? Like, if we read it, or if Kara Swisher read it, I wonder if we would like it more. But I think I'm having trouble relating to her as as a person. She makes
yeah,
a lot of decisions that to me seem a little petty or a little two faced, or her motivations seem a little different than my motivations. So it's hard for me to find that connection. You talked a little bit about when she goes in to resign from CNN, she removes her flats and she puts on heels, and she mentions it like this is normal. And you're like, that rubbed you the wrong way. It rubbed me the wrong way too. Why did it rub you the wrong way?
but well, one thing I see. Can you make us equal, please?
Oh, yeah.
I see uh, high heels as a form of foot binding, like the
Mm-hmm.
Chinese,
Mm-hmm.
that there is actually those little pointed toes, and the high heels. I see that as almost like we're going to penalize you
Mm-hmm.
and make it so that you really can't walk or be in the same way that we men can, in order for you to please us, or you to feel sexy, or to feel whatever, that somehow we've set this standard that says these fuck me heels with the little pointed
Mm-hmm.
and that has to be part of who I am in order to be able to. And I it grates on me,
Right.
because I don't I just I think that is that's not what you're going to do. You don't sit there on a football field. You don't put someone on a football field and say, okay, we're going to make you wear high heels and be able to do, and in order to be able to compete. And I just think that this is it's a pet peeve of mine.
Well, did you feel that she was selling herself short in that moment?
No, I feel like that she was playing the game.
Oh, Lori does play the game. She's not Kara Swisher. And that's, yeah. And I think you just unraveled it. Oh,
I
give
heard
her
it.
a high five. You just did it. You did it.
I
She
heard it.
plays
I
the
heard it.
game. She plays the game. Kara doesn't. Kara doesn't play the game. She plays the game. That is the answer to what is making us feel a
That's
little
what I
reserved from
yeah.
her.
Yeah, exactly. And
And
it
doesn't
is
question it.
pardon?
And she doesn't question it. I'm sorry, you were saying something. Yeah. She just takes off the heels because she's programmed to do what she's kind of told to, she plays the game. She's not a disruptor.
No,
And I'm a disruptor. Let me just be honest. I want to be a disruptor. What
me
do you think?
too. Me too. My self-image of myself is
Right.
is a disruptor.
Okay, well, I wanna be a disruptor too. I've been talking to you about flouting. I'm actively Lori is not really looking for rules to flout. I'm a flautist, she's really not. Now, real quick, let's do this. I wanna get this done this week because first of all, I'm gonna play something and then you're gonna talk about it, okay? You ready? Don't do that because then I worry that you sound so here we go.
Can I pet that dog?
No,
Can I pet that dog?
no,
Can I pet that dog?
no, he's
Can I
sleeping.
pet that dog?
It gets louder and louder. Can you say it? I just want to hear you do it.
No, I
Do
never
it.
did that. I never
No, I
did that,
know,
but
but
it
I
was
want to
so
hear you
neat to
do it.
see it was so neat to see that picture of me
Mhm.
that Ann Riggs, the wonderful artist, did for my birthday. Even though it says 75th birthday, it's actually my 76th birthday. But it is so fun to be able to see the kind of work. Can you play another one?
Yes, this one, the same pic. No, let do this one.
Yeah, darling, gonna make you happy. Take the word and a loving phrase. Fire off a gun, won't it? Exploding space.
I
That,
love
and what I love about that was a black and white.
it.
It was a black and white piece. She colorized it. She worked it out, and she's just it's just a wonderful. And so she sent a whole series of them, and we'll be able to. So maybe we'll be able to do that at another
I
time.
just want to do. I gotta do the dog one just real quick, and then I'm gonna do my favorite.
Can I pet that dog?
No,
Can I pet that dog?
no,
Can I pet that dog?
no, he's
Can I
sleeping.
pet that dog?
Okay, and I want to say this about so for anyone on the planet who doesn't know Dennis, he is persistent, and so I could see him. That's his spirit, kind of. That's one of the reasons why it's so funny if you know Dennis, because he is tenacious, he is dogged, pun on words, play on words, and that is what this world needs. One of the reasons why you are successful and are going to continue to rise, Dennis, is because you are tenacious. People give up, and you just had a lovely, reasonably spontaneous conversation with Sharon, who's a CEO, and she sold her company for millions of dollars. And she said too many people give up early.
I
We need
don't
to,
want. I do not want to get. And I use the metaphor is that imagine I'm digging
Mhm.
for gold,
Right.
and imagine that I give up 6 inches before I ever hit that vein. But how would I ever know that?
You will never know.
I would never know that, but I gave up. I just gave up and there it was sitting there. So however long it's going to take or whatever it's going to do, I'm not going to give up because I'm my goal is to be a working artist.
Mhm.
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm able to be because of you. I'm able to be a working artist, to be able to do this and to be able to go out and to fulfill the dream that I have. And then together, you and I, with our production companies, we're going to see exactly just how far we can push this.
Absolutely. And here's
I'm so
another.
proud. I'm so proud to have my name associated with yours, Renee. I love the idea that the creative forces that we can bring to the table, what I can learn and grow that I can do with you is absolutely astonishing. And thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The same thing to you. And then here's what I have to say to you.
All I need is the air that I breathe and to love you.
I wish we could have seen you doing that. Okay. I, I,
Thank you. Thank you for today. And thank you for this disjointed but delightful conversation.
and
And
Boston Dynamics we'll do next week. Okay.
yep,
Or do you want me
yep.
to just play it now? You want to save
No,
it?
it'll
Okay.
stay. It'll stay because I'd rather talk about that and we'll talk about AI and I and all the other work that we're doing together.
Okay. Now do me a favor. Don't call it disjointed. Please say this wonderful, eclectic, ebullient, loving conversation.
See, that's leadership.
I say to
That is you leading and coaching, and you do that, and I'm so grateful that you have that you're willing to step up and give me immediate real-time coaching in so that I can get clearer in what we're doing. So your voice is incredible. I'm so grateful that you're doing this for me and for so many people in the world.
Thank you. And I love you, and I love everyone out
I
there.
love you. All
And
right.
bye
Take
bye.
care. Bye,
Take care.
everyone.